just make this intro right. There we go. You hear that? Hey, what's up? Welcome back to Los Chingones. We are here with
Giovanni Viscara.
Giovanni, what did you bring? Before we get into what Giovanni does, he brought us a little something. What is it, man? You gotta show them.
We had to go all out. We got the 1942 for us.
Oh, you might as well pour it in these cups right now.
We got the black cups too.
Sheesh. It is Friday, you know. So
Giovanni ain't playing, man. You see that?
Straight up.
1942, Don Julio. You got sponsors now.
Yeah, at least for the one time.
Oh shit. There you go.
You gotta pour it by the mic. That way.
Let the people hear that. What do they call that? ASMR, right?
Yeah, something smooth. They're gonna be putting this on replay.
I don't know. It's too much.
Oh, it's okay. No worries. 2 shots won't hurt.
Thank you. This is good stuff.
There we go. Sweet. Okay.
Last time I had this was at my wedding, bro, in Mexico.
No way.
We had a whole bottle.
Was it a rough night?
Actually, no. It was the night before my wedding.
It was good. you know, like when I've gone to Mexico and they'll take like a shot, it's like we just take it right away, and they're over there like tasting it.
Oh yeah, because you're supposed to sip it.
It's crazy.
They tell you in the resorts where you're supposed to sip it. It's like whiskey and everything. You're supposed to take shots, but you know people. They just want to get it over.
You're just like, come on. All right, let's go ahead and take the shot. Cheers for another good conversation today we're going to have with Giovanni.
Absolutely.
All right, Giovanni, break it down. Let the people know what you do and what you got in store.
So I own the Ground Up clothing company, a brand we've had for about 9 years. We sell retail in about 30 stores here in the U.S., 2 in China, or Japan, I'm sorry. And then we also own CRE8 Printing and Design, apparel printing company, you know, specializing in screen printing, digital printing, embroidery, and all those types of things.
Oh, shit. Well, I actually did do a little bit of work with Giovanni with some fitness clothing. And it's just crazy seeing you progress, like from where you're at now where you're at now. It's just, it's amazing.
Absolutely. I mean, it's been a long time, long road, and you see the beginning, it starts out real slow, and then all of a sudden things just kind of steamroll, and it just turns into what it is now.
That's called consistency, guys.
Absolutely.
So y'all that don't know that, you just got to be consistent with that work ethic, and it gets you there. So yeah, let's go ahead and kind of break down. I know you said you did a little work with him before, but let's break down a little bit of how everything started, man. What kind of got you into the business of printing and your clothing stuff?
So, you know, the apparel, all that stuff started out, you know, like I said, 9 years ago. And I'd always just kind of had a passion, you know, for fashion and clothes and stuff like that. And I was just kind of in a position where I was, you know, I wanted to start a clothing brand. You know, this was a long time ago. And I had no reason to do it. You know, I had no background in it or anything like that. But I wanted to do it. And I tried to pursue it. And luckily, I had a friend who worked with like a pretty prominent printing company down in San Diego. And you know, I spoke with him about what I wanted to do, and he was just, you know, he gassed me up. He was like, "Oh, you got to do it, take advantage of it." And so I did, and you know, I didn't have any idea what I was doing in the beginning, and you know, you learn pretty quickly that you don't know what you're doing in the beginning, you know, because people just kind of steer you in any direction. And you know, through the first few years, it just kind of was something I was doing as a hobby. It wasn't really something I was taking seriously. And then I'd say probably a few years after that, it grew a little bit. And then I was in a position where like I needed to really either, you know, keep the brand going or just stop and do something else. And I decided that, you know, I really wanted to invest in the brand and really wanted to make it something like a business. And throughout that whole situation, throughout the process, you know, I picked up on things. I learned, you know, printing companies and stuff. They weren't really steering me in a direction where they wanted to like help me with a clothing brand. It was real just like cookie cutter. Just like, hey, here's your, you know, if you want to print on a T-shirt, here's what you're going to logo.
Like the basics, like the basics.
I fucking hate that, bro. Like you have this vision in your head, you're like, I want this, and then you like they give it to them, they just give you the basic, and it's like, what the
absolutely
fucking little kid did this, bro? Like
fucking,
it's crazy because you'll get it, and then you're just like, well, how do these brands have this real nice stuff, and then
they're giving you bullshit.
That's exactly for my company here. For my gym here, I was trying to make like dope ass streetwear. Like for me, it's not just your like giveaway T-shirt with the phone number in the back. It's like, no, I want some fashionable streetwear. Now I try to make like search, and then it's like, you have this vision of this logo and this thing that is going to look clean, and then you're like, what the fuck?
Like come on, man. And it's crazy how back then when they would do like all these designs printing companies, like that was the thing, phone number, because social media wasn't out. But now we see all these trends that all over the world, and it inspires us. And then now you create that vision.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So yeah, we worked with, I worked with a bunch of different printing companies in the beginning, and then I had an opportunity with one of the first stores that picked up my brand, right? I literally went into these stores like with a backpack and I had shirts in there just like trying to show it to people, right?
This is what I need, bro.
Yeah, I mean, I had no idea, how like you're supposed to get into stores, I was just like, man, let me just try to just go in here guerrilla style and just, show them what I got.
Oh, shit.
But it's crazy though, because the first store that I went into, which was a Fresh and Fitted out in Stockton, I met like the owner happened to be right there when I walked in, and I was like, hey, I got this clothing brand or whatever, and he looked me up and down and was just, like, what is this guy doing? And I was wearing like one of my first designs, and so like the trademark of the brand or the motto of the brand is start from nothing, stop for nothing. And that resonated with me because literally a lot of the things that I've done in my life, it was literally I started from nothing and just you don't stop, so stop for nothing. And I remember I was wearing that shirt and he saw that and he was like, this is your brand and you made that? And I was like, yeah. And literally that he was like, let me see what you got. And so I opened up my backpack that I had in there and I just showed him a bunch of t-shirts and he was like, you know what, I like it. And I was just like, I couldn't believe it. And then he said, well, look, let me get, like eight of each design that you got. Like everything you got, give me 8 of it. And I was just like, fuck, okay. So I came back the next day and brought him all the clothes and that's how I got into like the first store. And then throughout having clothes in that store, me and him kind of built a relationship. And he saw me go through a lot of changes, and he noticed, that I was real hardworking, that I was dedicated to it. And this is at a time when there weren't a lot of people making clothing brands. Like now, everybody's got a brand, Yeah. And so he saw that I was really trying to put time and effort into it. And I went through a rebranding process. And when I did that, my brand started taking off like crazy. And me and him just became friends, long story short of that. And he had a lot of printing equipment. And there was another guy who he was going to do a printing shop with who kind of took advantage of him. And he had all this stuff. And I was like, well, I want to print for my brand. I wasn't in a position at the time where, I just had tons of money anymore to just be spending on it. And I was like, dude, let's start a printing company. And he was open to it at first. And then, he's, like I said, he had to see really what I was about. And then he agreed and we would start this printing company. So some time went by. I had a bunch of things happening, they kind of took me away from it. But, I came back to him. I was like, let's actually make it happen. And I had to kind of push to make it work. But we did. We took the equipment that he had. We bought a little shop over off Hammer Lane in Stockton. And it was just literally a 900 square foot warehouse. And our agreement was, he was going to provide us equipment and I was going to be the one just running it, right? I told him, I was like, I'll learn how to screen print. I'll learn how to do anything. Like whatever we got to do to make this work, just let's make it work. So like I remember the first day we put everything in there. He tried to tell me, he showed me how to screen print, right? Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, so screen printing is not just like a easy thing to pick up. People think you just like watch.
It's just like yes,
bro. It's so much more than that. And I remember he showed me how to like screen print the first day, and it was like he was just like, yeah, you just put this on here, you swipe the ink, and boom, you got a T-shirt printed. And I was like, oh, cool, we're in. And then literally we just started a business just right off of that. Yeah, so it was the biggest learning curve I've ever had. And he started bringing in, orders and stuff like that, and I literally just had to learn on the fly. I remember the second day I was there, the guy came for his order, and he came in the back while I was printing, right? I literally had no idea what I'm doing.
What the fuck? You're fucking sweaty bullets while he sees you, bro. You're under pressure.
It was crazy, and he's literally just watching me do it, and I'm learning as I'm doing it, And so that was something I learned real quickly, that this is going to take some time to learn. But, over time, I was literally, I picked it up pretty quickly. I mean, I did everything there. I'd be in the back in 100 degrees, screen print T-shirts, and then a customer would come. I'd throw my shirt on, run to the front, try to get an order out of it, and then go to the back, keep printing. It was wild. So for the first year, it was a lot of hard work.
How many shirts can you print? Like, how many shirts were you able to print in that?
Well, I mean, at that point, it was like we had, the littlest equipment you could think of. So I mean, it took a good amount of time.
Was it one at a time?
The first press we had was literally one shirt at a time, right?
Shit.
We didn't even have all the proper equipment, but there's ways to get around it.
Yeah, like, we need 1,000 shirts. Fuck.
There was a college that needed 1,000 shirts, right?
Oh fuck.
And literally, I remember I stayed for like 4 days straight, like 15 hours printing 1,000 shirts. The longest thing ever, but that's just what I had to do to get a big order.
It's the grind, man.
It absolutely is.
Now, how old were you when you started doing that?
I was 27. I was about 27 when I started the printing company.
Okay.
And so we did that for a year, and then literally at the end of the first year, my business partner who I had at the time, he had told me, he was like, hey, he's very successful in his own right with a lot of businesses that he has, and he said, hey, Gio, you're doing really good with this. I know you could, really make these things grow, and he gave me the opportunity to buy him out of the business because he had his own things going on, and I figured, at that time I was like, I got to make this happen. I'm already invested in it, and so I did. And then, I got one employee, which, was a big help to me, someone who really had skills, and that, gave me a big boost. And then I just kept going at it, and getting 2 employees, then turned to 3, then moved locations to a bigger spot, and then it turned to 4 employees, and it turned to 5, and it grew like that, But I'd say definitely the first few years of it just was slow, it was a grind. And I think that's probably the hardest part is getting through like that initial, hard part where it's discouraging. There's a lot of things you're just like, man, is this the right thing I should be doing? And you really just got to like believe in yourself, I think. And if you could do that and push through, eventually it's like a wall. Like once you bust through that wall, it's
like a snowball effect.
Yeah, it's a snowball.
It's like you're taking that jump, like that a lot of people won't take.
It's what I tell people. There's a lot of hard parts, but the main 2 hard parts when you start a business. Number 1 is putting that idea to work and actually starting it. That's that first leap. Like, damn, like I finally did it. But then once you do it, you create everything, whatever you do, you can't just kick back no more and be like, I made it. Like, no, you think everybody's going to know you and they're just going to buy from you. It's like, nah, that's not how it works. Now you got to do the second part, hard work, which is now you got to get your exposure out and go everywhere. And that's going to be a while. That's where you were at. Yeah. You were like, damn, this is the right thing to do. But you kind of kept with it and you busted through that wall. Once you bust through that wall, then it's just, you got those connections now.
Absolutely. And I think one of the biggest things that I would like convey to people that are doing that is that literally you don't have to be the best at like anything, right? You literally don't have to have all the skills, have all the money, do all those things. Like if you're willing to just bust your ass and work harder than everybody else, like it'll happen. It'll just happen. I remember I saw this thing about Kobe Bryant. They were talking about how he gets better every year, right?
Oh yeah.
And one of the things that he said, and it always stuck with me, is that he was like, all the other players were asking me, how am I progressing so fast? And while everyone was doing maybe like 10 hours of training a day,
dude, this guy was putting in.
He would wake up at like 3 a.m., do 4 hours of training, then eat breakfast, go to the Lakers camp and work with them. After all that, he would do another 4 hours when he got home just on his own. So at the end of it, like you think he's getting an extra 8 hours than anybody else. So you put that 8 hours times a year, and you're light years ahead of people.
Fuck, that's true.
And I think that's probably one of the biggest things that even if you start a business where people fail at, that they just don't keep trying to progress. People get comfortable. People just think like, oh, you know what, it's not working, let me just fall back. When if you just keep pushing and moving forward with that, I think that's the biggest thing to being successful and just having something grow.
Yeah, you're making that sacrifice,
Absolutely.
Managing your time. I think that's huge. You got to like lay it out. Okay, I can do this and that, and then like I said, sacrifice the bullshit. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah, everything is investing into yourself, and then if something like when you're doing something, especially when you're building a business or a brand or whatever you want to call it, if you're just kind of like, you got to put your time in the right places with the right people, if you're investing your time in the wrong things, whether it's just like you're out there partying all the time and you haven't been building your business and you're trying to build a business, you're wasting those hours of. There's a lot of things that go behind, not just partying, but other things. If you just got to invest your time wisely. Put your head down, keep working to get what you want, No,
that's definitely it. And I think the people that are willing to, I think there's a lot of like temptation, especially, when you're like your 20s and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Everybody around you who's working a normal job or doing something, just normal, they're pressuring you like, hey, come on, let's go party, let's go do this, let's go do that. And but it's the ones that are willing to literally sacrifice. I always say, you sacrifice now to live good later. And I think there's something that said like, you put in the work so much in the beginning, and then at the end it's going to pay off. Like where some people are going to be working for their whole life, you're going to work 10 times harder in the beginning, but the rest of your life is just going to be so much better.
Yeah.
And that's just, again, believing in yourself and just investing in yourself and putting your time into really like, growing a business or what it is you're passionate about.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
That's super, super legit right there. But yeah, let's continue the process, man, as far as like, your whole, I guess from that place that you took off from, that printing company, where did you go from there? You started that printing company, and then what happened from there?
So we started we started the printing company, and then like I said, it kept growing, and then moved locations, and then just this year we moved locations into like our newest facility, which is about 3 times bigger than the old one.
You're still with the dude that gave you the opportunity? Okay.
No, so after the first year, he was the one that allowed me to buy him out of the business.
Okay.
Was it the same spot?
Yeah, it was at the same spot originally.
Okay.
When I met you, that was in my second location.
Oh shit. Okay.
So the first one was like very small.
Yeah.
But like I said, everything just kind of came into play for him. Like it worked out. I mean, he blessed me with letting me buy him out of that business, and he just wanted me to be successful. And I think it's hard to find people that literally just aren't all about money and that want to see you do when people in positions of power, people that can really put you on, I think it's all about like big people helping little people become big people, so that those people, so you can go and you can help the next person.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? And that's so many people, you know, like above you or whatever, they might, you know, they're either threatened or they don't want to help or they want everything for themselves. And it's rare that you meet people that literally want to see you do good. So I think, you know, I was blessed to meet him, and I think just everything happened for a reason, and it played out for me like that. But once he turned that over to me, it was scary, because literally it went from him helping me. You know, if he was the money guy at that time, right? If I needed help, you know,
he knew everything.
So I had no safety net. So when I started that, and I was in a position where I had to make the company work, I couldn't fail, you know. And so I literally just put everything I had into it, you know, working 7 days a week, you know, just coming in early as I could, staying as late as I could. You know, I missed a lot of things, I think, growing my business. But, you know, those are the sacrifices you have to make something successful. And the people that don't make, you know, the sacrifices, I think you'll see that in the business for sure. So yeah. Anyway, we moved to the newest location that we have this year. Like I said, we expanded like crazy, and it's just been really cool. Like, we went from being a really big, small, like a really big print shop. So now I consider myself like a small printing company, because like now we're competing, you know, with big printing companies, people that do like a lot of volume and stuff like that. And so I bought, you know, all the new equipment, everything we needed, so we could really take that next step. And so now, you know, every time you level up, it takes like a new level of dedication. It takes, you know, more out of you and stuff like that. And I mean, literally, I mean, that's what it's doing right now. But, you know, when you see success, or when you see progress, to me, like that I'm like addicted to progression, right? Like when I see, you know, not even necessarily like monetary, like with money and stuff, but just when I see like things growing and just, you know, just things just adding up, it's just so cool to me. And it's
addicting, man.
Yeah, I'm addicted to seeing progression. I'm addicted to, you know, progressing in my life.
And you want to always keep doing it. You always want to keep pushing.
Absolutely.
Because if you progress, you can help the people around you that, you know, that are closest to you and that they need to progress. Like you said, the bigger person helps the smaller person, you know, and that's just kind of how it goes, man. You keep building the people around you, and that's dope. So what was that first breakthrough, man? Where, you know, you started small, you did that printing company, you bought the guy out, you moved on, and then what was that first breakthrough that you were like, damn, like we're making something. People are knowing us, like I'm getting big deals. What was that first big, like,
hella orders coming in?
What was that first big order? Like, who was it? How did it go? And what kind of like felt, where did you feel like now I'm put on type of thing?
Well, you know, with the it's funny, because, you know, this is actually going to come through you, is that we started, once you start getting, you know, larger clients and stuff like that, you know, obviously you see more money coming in that regard. And I realized with social media and stuff building like that, my biggest clients were like organizations and companies, like you know, warehouses and stuff like that, right? And when I met you, you know, you would put you when I first did your stuff, you know, obviously we didn't know each other, but like I saw what you were doing, right? And I was like, okay, you know, he's trying to do his thing. And I really like working with people that I think are hungry and that they're trying to build something themselves. And I see a lot of myself in people like that.
Exactly.
You know, like I said, I want to help people progress like that. And then when I worked with you, right after that, you brought you know, your brother in, right? And then when he came in, you know, I didn't know who, you know, he was. He brought, you know, his wife in, right? And then, you know, and those that, you know, blew up to, and it really opened my eyes to, you know, social media is where it's at, right? Like, I mean, those are like people, so influencers and stuff like that. I mean, they're doing like a lot of big volume and stuff. And so then I started, you know, working with more influencers and stuff like that. And when I started seeing what that did, I was like, okay, this is where I want to go with it. As opposed to just organizational stuff. So I think that was a big breakthrough, just realizing that there was this huge market of people that move a lot of volume, and they can obviously help my business progress. And that's where I really started trying to market my business to, was to people that do those types of things. And so that was one of the things. But just in general, as you keep going, as you get customer or client retention and people you're happy and they come back, you know, word of mouth just goes around, and it takes a while. Word of mouth takes the longest to come back to you. But, you know, if you can wait it out, I mean, you'll see it grow. And I mean, this year I've seen the most growth, like absolutely. And that's, I think this year is probably where I've really seen like, okay, we can do this and we can keep progressing.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure.
Damn. So even with everything going on, like, you know, things slowing down, I know you say you work with companies and things like that. You know, obviously COVID and all that stuff happening. It didn't slow you down. It actually made you better.
So, you know, I think I never thought about it when I started a printing company. You know, where so many businesses, I mean, there's businesses that have been around 100 years. And when this COVID thing happened, you saw like, you know, big companies just bankruptcy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
collapse. They just collapse.
And it's crazy to think that these places that have been around for 50, 100 years, that 2-3 months of bad income,
It's
and
a
they're
wrap.
just like, you know what, we're just going to shut this down. And I never really understood, but I mean, a printing company, I mean, not that it's bulletproof, but I mean, no matter what happens, like everyone's going to need apparel. Everyone's always going to need, clothing and stuff like that. It's not like a technology business where like if you're not on the cutting edge of it, you're gone. It's something that everyone's going to need. So I think that was something that I realized was going to really help, and it could stay around for a while.
Nice, man. So yeah, for sure. So going from there, you got the influencers, man. You work with the influencers. You're working with the organizations. What big organizations have you worked with, man? Like that kind of was like when you got that big order from them, like anybody big from there that you were like, oh shit. Like,
well, there was the Stockton Kings are an organization, and I think so. Some other people would do big orders, but I think working with those types of companies, it was really cool. Just that that these people were wanted to work with my company, right?
Yeah, and that's what I was thinking. Like, man, like how does that feel? Like I feel like, man, they're knowing me, they're finding me. Like it's just like that. Damn, like that's crazy. Like that breakthrough right there.
It's cool to see like when people. Because they see it in there, people see it as a big business, stuff like that. Me, I still think of my business. I'm just like, this is that business that I started by myself in that little 900 square foot.
So you go back in time and you're like, oh shit, look where I'm at now.
And I think that's really where you realize it's like, okay, people take you seriously. This is like a big business. So I think that was a company that was really cool to work with. Colleges and stuff that I've worked with, in the past. I think that was another cool thing, just to see the people that could go anywhere they want to do their printing, but they chose to work with me. I think that was pretty cool.
Well, what's the furthest, like, I would say, like, client that you've worked with where you're like, oh shit, did you ever have to like ship?
Well, we ship all around the world.
Oh shit!
Right.
Okay.
So it doesn't really stop here in the U.S. Like the greatest thing about social media is that's what's really helped people with marketing, right? I mean, it's literally you can reach so many more people. I think probably 10 years ago, it was so much more about print media, like ads and magazines and newspapers and stuff like that, and your reach is limited to where you can actually go. But with social media, I mean, dude, your reach is limitless. And I don't think I'd be where I'm at if it wasn't for social media, because that really just gave me the opportunity to expand. And I think probably the best story I have about social media where I learned that is with the Ground Up Clothing Company, our brand. There was you remember when those people were doing like all the pranks, the clown pranks? Like yeah. Jump out and scare people and stuff. So
just funny.
So there was we had our brand, the Ground Up, and there was a video where this dude, I don't know if you remember, it was on Hood Clips, right? And that's a guy from Stockton too.
Oh shit.
Bro, there was a dude who was walking on the levee, and the clown jumped out and tried to scare him, right? And the guy that he tried to scare, like he had like pulled out a pistol and he pistol whipped the clown, right?
Damn.
He was wearing one of our jackets, right?
Oh, the guy that pistol whipped.
Yeah. So he was wearing our Mudville jacket. Right, and so that video went viral. It was on the news everywhere. It was, it blew up. And I remember I woke up the next day and I saw like 50 notifications on my phone, and I was like, God, well, what happened? I thought something bad happened, and then all of a sudden everyone's tagging my brand in it, right? Yeah. And I was just like, what the hell? And then I looked at my online store. I had like 60 orders in one day.
Sheesh.
Right? And because everyone saw the jacket, and it's
crazy.
It's a trend, bro.
It's crazy how that works, huh?
Fucking trend, and it's everyone wants it.
I want to be the guy that pistol whipped the clown. That clown.
I met the dude. He's the coolest dude. I gave him a bunch of free clothes. I mean, I was like, bro, hey, you helped me out.
Yeah,
and
he's I just pistol whipped the clown,
bro.
Well, that was at the time when like my business was pretty small with the clothing brand, right? Yeah. There used to be Facebook ads and stuff, right? And I don't know if you know, but I mean, when I first started running ads, it used to never really like amount to anything.
Yeah.
Then you would just get like a couple likes or something like that.
Yeah, you're
really,
like, what the fuck am I spending his money for?
Yeah, you're not monetizing off of it. And I remember once when I started getting all those orders after that video went viral, I had extra money, and I was like, you know what? Let me start running some other ads through Instagram. And I'll tell anybody that's in business or trying to grow a business. I mean, social media marketing is key. I mean, that's literally you will reach more people than you ever thought. And if you have good ads and good, if you have good content, and you know what to do with the analytics of it, I mean, you could literally just blow up off of that. And so this was in the beginning of it, and I started really like getting into ads and trying to learn about them and how they work. And I started running ads for the clothing brand. And literally, I literally saw a direct correlation from how much money I was spending to orders, right? Mm-hmm. And it was obviously the more orders, the more you spent, the more orders you got, and you were making a good amount of money off it. And so that was a big turning point for me once I realized how that worked. And so I started marketing the clothing brand. Then when we went to the printing company, I tried to use those same things I learned with that with the printing company, and it literally did the same thing. And so I think social media has been a godsend for me. You know, and it's a way that you don't need storefronts anymore. You don't need physical locations. Like physical locations are a thing of the past. I mean, in my opinion, you know, you still need it obviously for gyms and, you know, for things like that. But as far as just buying stuff, I mean, Amazon, your Walmart, you look at all those places. I mean, they just capitalize off that.
And they make it so easy now on social media. Like you swipe up, you click on the shop,
you're sitting
right
on your couch,
to it, bro.
Whatever it is, man.
And you know, and the people with social media, I mean, they recognize that too. And so, I mean, the easier they can make it for, you know, us as businesses to sell stuff, the more money that people are going to spend on ads, the more money they make. So they gear that towards helping people, you know, selling stuff. And so that was probably one of the biggest breakthrough moments that you were asking me about. Myself just learning how to use social media marketing. That's been one of the biggest helps in my life.
So anybody out there listening, if you got a brand, if you got something going on for you, you need the exposure. Obviously, word of mouth is cool, but you also need, you know, use your social media. You got to look at your IG, and if you ain't posting nothing daily, you know, you need to start doing that, because if not, you know, you're not going to get exposed. Even if you're not getting enough likes or you're not getting enough followers or whatever it is, just stay consistent with it, build the quality. It'll come slowly, but, you know, it'll take some time, but it'll get there. You know what I'm saying? So
absolutely.
Recommend that for sure. Now let's talk a little bit about, like, again, going out in your clothing brand. What are pros and cons of having a clothing brand? You know, because maybe there's some advice that Oscar can take on. You know, Oscar's, you know,
on the come up right now.
Got something going on that he's trying to work on, and you know, I'm excited about it. But at the same time, what are some pros and cons? Because I've heard a lot of cons when you start a clothing brand from, you know, another shirt guy or printer guy that I work with, because he had a little clothing thing, and he tells me the same thing. Obviously, big orders, overseas type of things, and I don't know. It just, what do you, you know, what are your pros and cons with that?
I think as far there's clothing brands are, I mean, I would say it's a little bit saturated. Like there's a lot of clothing brands. I mean, and I think I recognize it more because I'm at a printing company where I deal with a lot of people that are starting brands. And I think the biggest thing is that people think that, like, hey, you just, you know, put a logo on a shirt and automatically it's going to sell. But one of the things I've noticed is with social media and where you want to market your business is that authenticity is like a big deal to it, right? You need to there has to be some type of connection that the customer, you know, when they see that brand, that they're just like, oh, you know, they can relate to it.
That emotional attachment, man, the story behind it.
Absolutely.
Especially that story.
Yeah, for sure. But it's hard to get. With social media, people's attention span are like 5 seconds, right? So it's hard to do that. So you got to think of basically what's called a call to action, where you can just literally put something in. If you can gain someone's attention right there off the bat, you know, there's analytics behind that where you get someone to look at something for 5 seconds, then they're gonna look at it for 30. If you get someone to look at something for 30 seconds, they're gonna watch it for.
Got to make it appealing.
You have to make it appealing, and you got to just do something. You know, I would say catchy, but just something authentic. And you know, if you really, you know, I don't want to say live in your brand, but I mean, if you were really about what you're trying to put out there, you know, I think that's the easiest way. You know, if you're authentic about it, you know, people will recognize that, as opposed to, you know, people just kind of faking it and just, you know, making a bunch of, you know, bullshit. Yeah. I think that's probably the biggest thing. You know, pros about it is great because, you know, you have unlimited creativity. There's no you know,
boundaries.
Yeah, there's no boundaries. I mean, there's no set way. It's like, hey, if you want to start a clothing brand, you're gonna have to do this, this, and this. I mean, you could literally do whatever you want. You can invest in whatever you want. You know, if you want to all of a sudden start making custom things overseas, you know, cut and sew items, then you could do that. It's all about what you can, what you envision. I mean, honestly. Yeah. And I think perception's reality. Whereas, you know, if people perceive your business to be, you know, something like maybe even bigger than what it is, or just, you know, they see something that they're just like, man, they want to follow that. That's the best thing. And organic followers, people that really, you know, like what you're doing. I mean, it's monumental. Like it's just you can't replace that. Okay. So I think that those are the pros of it. You know, I think the cons of it too is that, again, it's really saturated. You know, there's everybody's got a clothing brand, and especially right now, everyone is marketing clothing brands. If you go on, you know, online and you search, you know, for clothes, then you go on your Instagram,
those pop up, bro, everywhere.
All the ads everywhere,
and that's great. Like for us, you know, selling stuff.
Yeah, all the flannels, bro. That's where I got all my flannels. I was like, oh shit, and then you got another flannel company. Oh shit.
Hey, isn't it crazy? Like, fuck. Like sometimes you're thinking about it and it just pops up. Like the fucking fucking phone read your mind or something,
I
bro.
feel like I could talk about something and then I could look at my phone, like, go on Instagram,
And it'll come up, bro.
And I don't know. I haven't read the fine print of what I agreed to with my phone or with Instagram, but I swear, it's like they're just like listening to what you're doing.
Yeah, not even like I'm driving and it's like your destination's 15 minutes away. I'm like, bro, I didn't even put my GPS, and this shit knows where I'm going every day.
Dude.
Fucking crazy.
You got a fucking chip on you.
Yeah, no, it's crazy like that. But yeah, I mean, I think that's a great thing. But there's so many people doing it again. So the cons of it, I would just say there's a lot of competition, and you just really have to be authentic. And I think the most authentic people, it might even take a little bit longer. So again, I think that goes back to just believing in yourself, trusting what you're doing. And if you really do that, I think you'll see success.
I think also putting yourself out there, like meeting people,
Networking.
you're going to have your networking, giving your stuff to, like you said, influencers or working with influencers, whatever it is, just putting your stuff online and let people put it out there for you as you grow. I mean, what is it? It doesn't hurt to meet somebody and be like, hey man, I got this clothing brand. Like, you want, here, I got a free hat for you, or a free, and it's got to be dope. Obviously, it can't be somebody's not gonna be like, it's gonna be whatever. But it's got to be legit, and it doesn't hurt to try. Worst thing you get is a no. You know what I'm saying? That's what I always tell people. And a lot of times people are gonna be like, yeah, it's cool, whatever. And you take a picture, you post it up, and I was like, oh shit, it's like that the Mudville thing, pistol whip. I want to be a fucking pistol whipper, bro. Like, a clown pistol whipper.
At least.
Yeah, it's crazy how it'll come about. You'll the things that'll like spark it. I mean, you never would see them coming. Like, I never saw that, and I never knew that was gonna happen, but it happened, and it was great. I can't complain. I feel bad for the clown, but I can't complain.
It was a blessing in disguise, man. You didn't even expect that, but like I always tell you, hard work never goes unseen, and you probably busting your ass over so long that it just had to manifest itself and just come to you like that,
And that's what I think. If you stay consistent with something for a long enough time, something good is bound to happen. I think I don't know if it's like the law of attraction or something like that.
Yeah.
If you really believe in something, you just keep going. It's gonna happen one way or another.
It is.
And I think I've just in all the stuff I've done as far as like business and just being an entrepreneur, like I think that's the biggest thing. You just keep going, and I always feel like after you take the biggest loss is when you get the biggest gain. When you see things are going bad, like it's almost like God's like testing you.
Yeah, out of nowhere, a snap. You keep your consistency.
Absolutely, and I mean, I even think that when our printing company just made this last big advancement, to our new spot. I mean, I put everything I had into it. I spent a crazy amount of money to really put myself to that next level. And I remember when we first did it, the first couple months, I was getting nervous. You know what I mean? I was like, man, was this the right thing? I was like,
that's coming out of this for a little bit.
Yeah, and I mean, I signed a lot of contracts, agreed, I bought all this stuff, and I was just like, God,
it's like fuck. You look at your credit, and you're like, fuck.
Yeah, man, I'm telling you.
Yeah, fuck.
But you just, I think the biggest thing, you stay down till you come up. You know what I mean? And the ones that just stay down, like eventually it will happen. Like, you just got to believe in it for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
And it seems like all this clothing process and printing process, it seems like you know a lot about marketing, and they maybe taught you marketing as you kind of went with this. What do you know about marketing? I know you kind of were talking a little bit about that as far as, what kind of advice you can give people when it comes to marketing. I mean, I know you said social media. I mean, that's the biggest one, obviously, but how to come about it.
I mean, marketing, I mean, it's a crazy thing. Like, first of all, there's certain ways to do it. I mean, there's like, when I went to college, like, I mean, they show you like a very cookie cutter way of how to, identify the market, identify your demographic and really, just make a marketing plan for that. But I almost feel like that's a little bit outdated. I think the biggest thing, like I said, like social media, I'll keep going back to it. Like, social media is like how, in my mind, that's how you market stuff nowadays. Yeah. Everybody gets their information from social media in one app or another. And I think that's really just changed the landscape of how you do it. But it's tough because I mean that's really like that's like
that's
big,
really, yeah. That's honest. I just want to see your. I know you said that already. And I'm pretty sure that's what your answer was going to be. But because I do the same thing. Like, I wake up every morning, I have some content, pictures I took or video, whatever it is, of my gym or something. Wake up, think about a solid quote, and it's crazy. I always come up with something crazy. And then just post it. And
the king of quotes.
Yeah, and then people just hit you up because they get inspired. Every day you're giving out to people, and the people that follow you, and they see that, and then it's just like eventually somebody's gonna hit and be like, hey, I want to come check out the gym, or hey, I want to check out your brand, I want to do some work with you, whatever it is, and it's crazy how that works. But You know, you never know who's watching.
Dude, people see so much stuff a day. I mean, you think about like when you're on Instagram or whatever, and you'll see just thousands of pictures a day, right? But if you post something that resonates with somebody, and then they after a day or so they think about it and they go back and look at your stuff, I mean that's what it's all about, and that goes back to being authentic. And I think authenticity, especially like nowadays where everybody's faking it, I think that goes a really long way as far as marketing.
And they'll see you putting in the work. Like when they see that consistency, they're like, man, this guy isn't playing around, And
I mean, you stand out. Like, for example, like I was saying earlier, like my gym in general, like you see the content that we post on the Savage Elite Fitness page, and I looked at other gyms' pages and nobody's doing that. Nobody's doing that. I don't even think with a 30, 40, 50 mile radius. Like gyms just post gym stuff, but it's like
fucking pictures off of Android.
Yeah, Android videos, and it's like, what the fuck? Like, why
it's like, I don't want to fucking go there. Like,
why is nobody? And again, it's like, I know certain cameras are expensive, quality, editing. A lot of people don't know about that. And then a lot of times, like, it's expensive to hire someone that does that.
Or even get equipment.
Yeah, because, especially for smaller gyms and private gyms, but we kind of broke that barrier where, and another thing too, like for me, I just got into the camera shit and I learned myself.
It's all natural. He's
like
all natural
I wanted to learn it and I just learned it. So it's like, I want to do something, but I'm going to do it for my gym because I see the vision that I want to portray out. And that's what authenticity comes out. And that's like, oh shit, that's Savage. That's what that is. And it's something that I guess anybody out there, whatever your vision is, all it takes is get a camera, put it out there to the world, and utilize it, and that way they see it. Eventually it's going to hit.
I know a lot of businesses. I mean, that produce some content that looks so professional, right? It's so high end, and literally, I mean, a lot of it's shot on an iPhone. I feel
and it is possible. Yes,
it's just like we're living right now, like in a time where it is so easy to project the biggest, like, version of yourself with the littlest amount of overhead, the littlest amount of equipment, and I think that's just like paramount, and that's a great thing because I think it gives everybody the opportunity to really like put themselves in a position to win. You got to learn how to do these little things, but there's just so many tricks to really. Like I said, perception reality, there's so many tricks for people to perceive your business or your brand or whatever it is you're trying to push as something so much bigger than it is. And I think, like, I wouldn't necessarily use the term like fake it till you make it, but if you don't see yourself in that higher level or something like that, no one else is going to either. Like, I mean, if you're just taking these like shit videos, like I'll go back to clothing brands, but like, if you're not doing, making your pictures look like professional or something like that, no one's really going to take it seriously.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? If you're telling people like, hey, hit me up, like, got the shirts in the trunk, you know what I mean? Like, people aren't gonna take it as
parking lot pimping, you know what I'm saying?
You know what I mean? But
if I could pull up with the beater.
But hey, you could have that same merchandise and you spend $30 a month on a website. You spend a couple hours, even if the website's not that great, but you have a website, you have something that just, makes it look a little bit more official. And I think the more steps you can do to make your stuff look official, it don't matter if it is or not, people will just perceive it as that. And that's what's going to help you grow for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And slowly but surely, like I say, as you continue adding these advancements to your business, get a little bit more quality and day by day or week by week, month by month, whatever it is, year by year, get better pictures, because I remember when I started and I look back at my Instagram, and I'm pretty sure we can all look back at our Instagram and be like, damn, like I really took that picture and posted that. That shit was whack as fuck. I was like, that video, really? Like, but, it's crazy how much advances you do in 2-3 years. Like, you look at it and it's like, damn, like we've came a long way.
Or it's even like when you look back and you see the clothes you used to wear.
Yeah.
That too, that's bad, bro. You don't even want to look back 2 years.
Oh, hell no.
What the fuck was I wearing? Yeah, but see, that's what happens when you're so busy grinding, you don't give a fuck what you're wearing.
Yeah, honestly, at this point,
At all.
So what's the next steps? What are we going on? So I know, like, now you seem like you went from like doing this clothing stuff to now it's like you're a businessman now. You know what I'm saying? And I think that happens to, I mean, not everybody, but the people that want to continue advancing, like they're addicted to progressing, like we talked about earlier. You understand, you learn, you come from the ground up, like your clothing is, and you want more and you become a business mindset, this entrepreneur that now how, you can move your money and play with it and create things. What are the next steps that you're taking in your business, man, in your business ventures? Like what's going on? Obviously some things you might not want to speak on, but what do you see yourself working on?
So I think it's all about diversifying for sure. You know what I mean? I think everything that you do, everything that you do in life, and there's a lesson to be learned from it, and you could use those lessons as you find something new to do. I think that as far as me in business, I've learned what certain businesses do, what certain businesses require as far as, money, time, and things like that. And I think it's just made me figure out, okay, well, what businesses can I get into next that really amplify what I do well? And I think once you figure out what you do well and you capitalize off that, that's where you can kind of figure out where you want to go with it. I got some other little things that are going on right now with new partnerships and stuff that I'm trying to create, where I think I've just learned so much about what's made me successful in my business, and I really want to just hone in on those skills and stuff that I have. And so I think if you can take a step back, look at yourself and say, hey, what do I do well? And then what type of businesses can really utilize what I do well? I think that's like if you can recognize those things, I think that's a hard thing to do. But if you could recognize that, and then on top of that, find that business to get involved in, network and find the right people that are already involved in it. Once you realize that, I think your potential is like, it's unlimited.
Unlimited,
you could literally do anything you want. And, networking is the best way to obviously know like-minded people that are doing those things. And, if you can get together with people like that, and everyone knows their role, everyone knows what they're really good at, and you create a team where everyone, like a basketball team, everyone has a position. And if everyone's really good at that, I mean, bro, that's where, dreams come true. And that's where people really just, go through the roof. And so I think that's probably, the biggest thing for sure.
And exactly. And then everybody in that team's got to want to see everybody win and succeed.
You got to be hungry, man.
You can't have someone in the team that's like, kind of that anchor, that's like, well, they want more than the others. Everybody wants more, but together we can get, we can make better, So I think a lot of people miss, some people can't be team players, and you try to create this team. And, I recommend for people out there that's trying to develop a team, especially if you're the leader of that team and you're trying to develop, you got to be humble yourself to be able to be with the people that you're creating, but at the same time understand, who's legit and who's not, and take care of business there. Because if not, things aren't going to go right the way you want it.
Yeah, I'm right.
If you're if you're a boss of a business or something like that, I think the biggest thing is that they say like work so hard so that people can't tell who the boss is and who the worker is. You lead by example. You know what I mean? So especially with my businesses, I mean, I don't nothing is below my pay grade or anything like that. I mean, I'll clean clean the floors, do whatever it is, help the guys in any aspect of the business. And if you do that, you're humble. People see the people that work for you, that they see that you're hungry. And I think that's the best way. Just lead by example. And if everybody does that, go down the chain, that it's just everyone wants to do better. Everyone keeps it pushing, but it's really hard to find people that want to do that. But once you do, that's again, it's just like it steamrolls. You know what I mean? It just turns into something really big. It just takes people really believing in that, I think.
Yeah. And what's that process for you, man? Like the process for you to build that team that when you were starting building your team, man. I mean, I'm pretty sure you went through a few people when you started your businesses, because I've been through a few people in my business here, thinking that we had a team and then just realizing damn, it's not working out. I mean, I think this is something that people can learn as you grow your business. Obviously, since we're talking about building teams, you definitely need a team. I mean, it's great. You can be greedy. You as a business owner be like, screw it. I'm just gonna be the only, person doing all the work, blah blah blah, and collect all the money and not pay anybody. But at the same time, there's only so much that you can do by yourself. Imagine having 10, 15, 20 people that you can train to be, they're not like you, but teach them as much as you possibly can and are hungry just as much as you potentially.
And that you can trust.
Imagine the things that you can do, the amount of money you can make, the amount of money they can make. You know what I'm saying? It just, you build this team and we all work together. It's better a team of 10, 15 than a team of 1. But again, it's got to be a legit team.
So much of what I've done, even before my printing companies and stuff like that, I was always just kind of do everything myself, right? I've always seen a direct correlation with the harder I work, the better I do, right? And so you can take that so far, but yeah, at some point you have to have people around you. You have to have a group of people that are gonna feel the same way and want to work for you. I think that's probably one of the hardest things is finding those like-minded people that want to be a part of a team and that really have that same vision. And it sucks because unless you're giving somebody part ownership or something like that, it's hard to find those people. Yeah. But those people are out there, and I've gone through a lot of people that have worked for me and stuff like that. And when I see people that don't have that, I don't hold it against anybody.
Yeah.
I just think in my mind, I just think that, hey, you haven't found what you're passionate about. And, if it's not with me, do your thing. You got to go do that. But once you find those people, you got to keep them. You know what I mean? You got to take care of those people. And if people that are coming in and working for you, if you take care of them, you look out for them in any type of way, you know, I think that just builds a relationship where they want to do more than the average person. Mm-hmm. They want to look out for you. So finding people that care. I mean, it's as corny as it sounds. I mean, I think that's the biggest thing, finding people that care and they literally have that same type of vision. Because a lot of people want to just work 9 to 5, go home and go party and do whatever it is.
That's it. That's the only thing they look forward to. And then let's go to the bar on the weekend.
It's crazy.
Fucking bad influence people, bro.
It's crazy how that is, man. It's like some people just don't want to progress in life.
It's like that's it. It's like fuck, that's it.
But like, you know what it is that when you see 90% of the people around you doing that, you think that that's okay to do. You think that's the norm. Like I mean,
it's easy to get influenced, especially when you're, you know, putting myself as an example, maybe like from 21 to 23. Like like it was an easy influence. You know, they'll be like, hey, let's go out on the weekend, and boom, right there. Even though I tell myself no, next thing you know, it's just like.
Yeah, but your mind, you'll figure it out because your mind's always different. I think we all go through that stage where we're like, you know, but your mindset's gonna be like, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? Well, there might not be like that. They might just be like, whatever, just another
Especially
day.
This year, definitely big change from that.
Yeah, dude, I know, you know, I mean, I wasn't always so like, you know, business minded and, you know, really understanding that hard work was what really paid off. Because when I was like 23, I moved to LA, right? And I thought that was just, I just had the means to do it. And I was like, I'm going to move to LA. I thought that was just going to be the coolest thing, right?
Yeah, so you just thought like, I'm going to go out there and just fucking.
It's because you see it all in the movies and shit. It's like, that's where it's at.
Yeah, but basically, you know, at the pool, back then when I was 23, you know, I was doing, you know, other things where luckily I was able to, you know, do what I wanted, right? And so I had the money to do it, and I was like, man, I'm gonna go to LA. I'll become an actor. Like I'm just gonna go out there. You're just gonna turn into a celebrity, right? Like in my mind, I was like, all I gotta do is get out there. And then when you get out there, like you realize
they gonna find me. Steven Spielberg gonna hit me up.
Hey, if you did though, if you were an actor, what I said. I would say, what movie genre would you like to be in?
Oh man,
he looks like a guy that'd be in an action movie, bro.
At least look at the what is it, the Hitman?
Yeah, I'll take it, dude. When I moved to LA, right, and I tried to do acting, right, and I went to like auditions. I remember like I went to MTV, right?
Oh right? Shit!
It was on my birthday too that I auditioned for it, and then they called me back and like, hey, you know, we want to offer you, you know, to be on the show, right? And I was like, what show is it? And they're like, you ever heard of Next?
Oh shit! That fucking show, bro.
They had the bus, right?
The bus for literally
Next,
it's like next,
fake ass show.
It's fucked up.
Hey, for real. And I just I thought it was so easy, right? And I remember I had a friend who worked at a television network, and I told her about it, and she was like, "Hey, Gio, that's committing acting suicide to do that." She's like, "Don't do it or whatever." And so, I ended up not taking that opportunity, but I shot like a pilot for like a talent type of show, right? Okay. Where I was one of the hosts for that. Networks didn't pick it up, but you know, I went out there and tried those things. But when I went to LA, like I wasn't going to acting school. Like I wasn't taking it that serious, you know. I just thought you just go in there and you just do it, not realizing all the hard work that goes behind it.
That shit was hard.
Yeah, well, apparently, because that shit didn't work for me. But you know, I got so sucked into you know, out there partying and just having fun, and you know, because everybody's out there doing that.
Oh fuck yeah!
The cool
it's
thing,
the lifestyle out there.
The cool thing to do is go out there, go to clubs, you know, buy bottles and do all this stuff. But you wake up the next morning, it's
fucking
like,
see your credit card.
Bro, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's no joke. So I was going to college at the time, and like the 2 years I lived in LA, I took one class in college, right? And I think I got like a D or something like that. And so, I just realized by the end of that, I was like, you know, I had friends that literally, like, I kind of, you know, looked at it as not like the most serious, like, you know, school people. And I remember like one of my boys was telling me, he was like, yeah, dude, I'm about to go to a 4-year college, this, and this. And I'm like, man, I didn't even finish junior college yet. And I swear that was one of the things that told me, I was like, you know what, I need to check myself and really invest in myself and not just think everything's about partying, because eventually you come to one point and you're like, you're, you know, the old dude, you know, in the club.
Fucking
like,
kicking it with youngsters and shit.
In LA too, I mean, you'll see like 40, 50-year-old dudes
fuck
in there,
yeah.
They're in there, you know, just thinking they're 20.
That's crazy, bro.
So I told myself, I was like, I can never be that. And, you know, I kind of had to refocus myself a little bit. That's when I came back, went to college, graduated, and did all those things. And I don't know, I think there's just little moments in your life.
What was your, what did you
so my major is public relations, and I have a minor in marketing.
Oh, right on.
Right. So, and really, when I went to Sac State, I was going to be a business major, but it was so impacted that I had to find something different. And so I went into public relations. And I swear, like, it was literally just a straight blessing that I went into that, because so much of public relations was marketing. And so much of that was just how to talk or how to, convey businesses and convey events and stuff to people. I still use some of the same stuff that I learned in college, like today in my businesses, as far as like press releases, just how to deal with like, events, and just how to get the word across to people about things. I think that's something that's, like not a lot of people know how to do. And there were some things I really learned in college that actually, helped me more than I think I probably would have learned in business.
Yeah.
So that was a big plus.
You're like one of the few people that are actually using the degree, I guess, in a way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, honestly,
in a way.
Yeah, you're using I literally probably like 2%.
Yeah, at least you only learn a little bit.
For
you only
sure.
take away from a bit from it.
But I think doing, just obviously being willing to do that, even just, I look at people, like I would take, at my company, I would take experience over education any day.
Oh, hell yeah, bro.
Fuck yeah.
Same thing here at the gym, bro. The way I am, exactly. Like, you could have 100 certs, you could go graduate a solid college and be like, I have an exercise degree or whatever, and you come in and you have no people skills. Like,
bro, that shit is
terrible at
crazy.
talking to people. You're like, you don't, you know what I'm saying? It's different. Like, it's just like you need to have those people skills, man.
It's even like with myself. I get my cert and it's online. The whole training thing's online, and I'm just in there like with no fucking clue. So what I did is I got out of my comfort zone. I go shadow these trainers from different gyms, learning, picking up stuff, and that's how I got better.
And dude, you know what that is? Like that's like I was saying with college, like I probably use like 2 or 5% of the stuff I learned. It's like you probably you spent so much time learning from
Fucking
these people.
a shitload of money too. Fucking
right. But
crazy, huh?
You invested in yourself, and even though that all that stuff you learned, you probably don't use half of it, but you probably picked up some things that you're going to use forever.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Facts.
And it's just about investing your time and just believing that something, you're going to find something useful. And if you take every experience that you go through and you try to take a lesson from it, all those lessons are really what's going to add up in the end of it, which is just making you, smarter, just knowing how to deal with certain situations that happen, and just really being able to take on any diversity and really like turn it into a positive, and really like be able to make positive out of negative. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that's like a really big key, is just not forgetting, all these things and really trying to find a lesson in them.
Exactly.
I think that's a big help.
I think your next business venture, man, with the marketing thing and all that stuff, I think you should be a motivational speaker. I feel like, you know what I'm saying?
Hey, bro, I honestly,
I think everybody's legit, everybody talks well, but like you could just see the way you speak on things, especially when it comes, because we talked about your clothing for maybe about 20 minutes, 15 minutes, and then it went to like just straight marketing, straight like business moves, straight things that, things like that. And it's like, I can see it in you. You obviously gonna have like 10, 20 businesses and
Yep.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
That's the goal. But I think, like I said, I've gone through, I've gone through some really great things in my life, and I've gone through some of the toughest things that I think anybody can go through. I mean, losing everything that I have, to literally going to nothing. Like I lost everything I had when I was 26, right? I mean, I literally lost, everything was taken from me. And I really had to like look at myself and say, okay, I wasn't living right, and I need to figure out like what I'm gonna do to be successful. And the biggest thing I thought of all the things that I learned, right? All those lessons that I learned. And if you take those lessons and you put it together, like it just, I don't know, it's hard to like really say, but you take all those lessons and it really just, it changes who you are, dude. It changes your mentality. And then like I feel like, when I was in the worst place I was ever at, I would do anything to get myself out of it, right? I didn't give a fuck about going out partying, doing anything like that. I was worried about making myself successful, right? And I refused to be a bum. Like I refused to just be like average. Like I want so much more for myself. And, I think about like, there's people, right, that could have families with money, right? There's people that, are given, a business, or given, some way to make, a whole bunch of money. I don't have that. I got an amazing support system. I swear I got the best parents that literally would back me for anything that I wanted to do.
Yeah.
But, I got to do those things.
Yeah.
And, if you have that type of support system, like you just take all those lessons, I think that's really what, kind of like lose my train of thought of how I'm going with it.
Right.
I think that those are the things that just really like change who you are. And if you can, take all those lessons and turn it into something, bro, I mean, I think you're unstoppable.
And that's one thing, like you said, like your parents backing you up 100%, like you're awesome parents. That's one thing with me too. Like when I started my gym, I told my dad, like, hey, he saw me always training in the garage, like in the garage training people, and just like even when we had parties at the house, I'd be training people like, hey, I got to train some clients right now. And I'll be over there in the backyard barbecuing like with them after. And they would see that. And that was crazy. Like now that I think about it, like, damn, like I was doing that shit even during barbecues and family was over. And I'm like, hey, I'm in the garage training right now. Give me like 2 hours. I got some clients. And it was crazy now to think about it. It's like, damn, like, so just like, then, so from that, I think my parents saw that, but you know, they didn't say much. And then eventually it came to the point where I had that opportunity to go to that other location and start training, and then moving eventually to getting my first location that I was officially my business, Savagely Fitness. And then it was like, I had a conversation with my parents one time, and I was like, hey, I asked my dad, and my mom was there too, but I asked my dad, and I was like, hey, you know, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Just in case I ever need anything, you know, would you back me up? And he was like, do what you want to do. If that's what you believe in, go for it. I'll help you out if it ever gets to a point where you can't pay rent or something. But, you know, if you're going to do it all the way. And then I did it, bro.
Yeah,
I never once had it during
the
the whole period. I didn't need his help. And it was an awesome feeling to just, I think the awesome feeling is better than money for have that's like somebody's got to give you the opportunity, that support so you can feel good about it. Cause sometimes it's like we all need a little pat in the back and be like, you got this, mijo. You know what I'm saying?
At least.
You know, literally, I mean, that's the best thing ever, dude. I mean, I think you can do so much believing in yourself, but when you see other people believe in you, I mean, that's just like, you know, it's amazing. When I, you know, when I took it, you know, lost everything, right? I had to literally restart my life. And for the longest time, you know, I didn't work a regular job. And when I had to, you know, restart everything, I went and I was like, you know what, boom, I'm gonna go get a job. First thing I did, I became the marketing coordinator at this event pavilion out in Tracy, right? And I started working with them. And it was the first time I worked like just sitting at a computer, and I was just like, this isn't for me. This isn't for me. And then I got into, I looked for another job. Boom, I started doing traffic planning. And it was basically the guy that owned that company was this big entrepreneur, right? And he still is a big entrepreneur. He owns multiple businesses and doing all this stuff. And I remember I would go, I worked there for an extended amount of time, and then I had to go, you know, take care of some personal things. And when I left, I told him what my situation was, and he was like, hey, you always have a home here. He was like, whatever you do moving forward, he was like, I remember he told me one time, he's like, Giovanni, he's like, I see greatness in you, right? And I was like, you know, like coming from somebody in that position, like I was like, you do? Like I was like, you know, that gave me a push to do what I needed to do. And then when I had the opportunity to open a printing company, you know, I remember my mom, you know, she was pretty adamant that, you know, hey, stay with the job that you're at. You know, you got really good benefits. You got everything taken care of. But I can't I'm not the type of person that could go to an office, sit at a desk, watch the sun come up, watch the sun go down. I go to the gym after, go to, you know, watch TV.
It just gets old, bro.
You know, but, you know, there's so many people. And, you know, thank God that there's people that are okay with that because you need those people in the world. But I knew I wasn't one of those people. Yeah. And I remember when I had the opportunity, you know, I called my old boss and I told him, you know, what I had the opportunity. And he literally, I was teetering whether I start this company or whether I just go back to work. And he told me, he was like, Giovanni, he's like, go chase your dreams. He was like, do whatever you want. And, you know, if you ever need to come back, you always have a spot with me. So, yeah, that was the little bit of push that I needed that really put me over the edge. And it really, like, I called him, you know, a few years ago, and I told him, you know, what I was doing. I thanked him, you know, and he probably doesn't even remember the conversation we had, but I literally remember sitting there, you know, just like pouring my heart out to this dude. And he literally, you know, just gave me that motivation. Yeah. And so, I mean, public speaking, I think is a really cool thing. I think motivational speaking is a really cool thing. And I know firsthand what that can do to you. Oh, you know? And
a lot of people out there in the world need that, man. Like sometimes, like even when I train my one-on-one clients and things like that, you sit there and talk because like me as the owner, I sit there and talk to them sometimes and they want to start businesses and I tell them, they see me as this younger dude, you know, they're like, and they get motivated by me and then I get motivated by them because then it's like, I know that I'm motivating and shit motivates me because it makes me feel like I'm doing something right. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of passing the torch around and just letting people grow and we all grow together. So when I see that person succeed in their business, it's like, damn, like, I don't want to say it was me, but it was like I had a conversation with this person and for some reason he probably took something out of that and made something out of him. So because maybe I was the push that he needed or they needed or she needed, you know what I'm saying? And it's crazy to, like you're saying that. So I see a lot of that, like what I see in you, man, a little bit of myself as well, because again, I built a business from the ground up like you did. And I think the best speakers and motivational speakers are going to be are people like that because you have so much experience from nothing to something, you know what I'm saying?
I think the greatest thing about like motivational speakers is obviously, you know, they're giving you all this positive reinforcement because so many people that you just talk to just in everyday life, no one took those leaps. No one really took those chances, right? And I think people will discourage you so much quicker than they'll encourage you, right?
Oh, yeah.
I think it's so much easier to tell somebody to be like, bro, that's not gonna work. Like just go do this or do that or whatever. Because and then there's so much discouragement that that's why people think that starting a business is so hard. That's why
they're like, oh, everyone's the same. Like it's not gonna happen. And she's like, motherfucker, you don't know my vision.
Yeah.
And it's just you have so many people around you that are telling you no, don't do it. That you never take that leap of faith. And I think that steamrolls into just so many people
because they never done it.
Yeah. Exactly. And it's funny because going back to that, it's like I remember when I first opened my first smaller location. I remember people would ask me like, "Is this your only job?" Because like I would do my morning class, finish my morning class, and then I'd be done for a little bit. Then I'd come back later to train the evening. But I'd be leaving. They'd be like, "Hey, is this your only job? You got another job?" And I'm like, "No, it's the only thing I do." And they're like, "Really?" And I was like, "What do you mean, fucking really? What the fuck?
Fucking lost it.
Like, it pissed me off. Like, what do you mean?
It's like they don't take it fucking serious.
So now, like, I'm here and I'm in this position where, like, I've got employees and I'm helping them. And even then, I try to pass this mindset to them. And not everybody's going to take that because some people, like I said, they're just meant to be workers. And that's okay. We need people like that. But at the same time, if I can motivate you to be better, the best version of yourself, then hey, I'm doing my job.
Because that's vision. That's having vision, and so many people don't have that vision. And I think that I don't know where that really stems from, but I know like for me, I've always my parents are real creative people. Like right, my dad was an architect, my mom was a school teacher.
Oh
right?
shit, your dad's an architect?
Yeah, but dad's an architect, right? And so my parents always gave me so many things to be creative. And I think those things when I was young, maybe it's not even cognitive to me now, but like those were the things to create. Those were I've always seen. Something more than what it is. I've always seen what things could be as opposed to what things are. And I think that if you have people around that, or people that are around you that are making influencing you and believe that, I mean, that's where you see the vision. And you see the vision, and that's what you stay persistent with it, get somewhere.
And I think that could be a transition of why I think you took the clothing company, because in there you can create whatever you want.
Yeah.
And so I guess that goes back into your childhood. Like you started with that, and I think that's what led you to eventually creating a clothing company, a printing thing, because you can vision and put whatever you want, create whatever you want. And now that took you on to, well, now I'm going to do different businesses and venture out and keep creating and adding what I can bring, bringing something to the table all the time to whatever it is. And that's dope to hear, man.
Yeah, no, I've realized, I don't, I feel like maybe I don't even understand, myself fully, but I know enough that I'm a creative person. And that doing, a standard job or something like that, I mean, it's not for me.
Exactly.
I'm not going to excel
Likewise,
at that.
man.
And I have to be able to do something where I have creative freedom and where, I'm making decisions. And then I think you pair, that creativity with a business mind. And if you can put those two things together where you can create, you have the biggest imagination, but you also know what you can do as far as business, because that's going to be what your limitations are. If you can pair those two things together and find something that works within that, I mean, that's gold. That's gold right there.
We're going to call you Kanye West.
Right? But you know what? To be honest, I mean, he's one of those people that speaks things into existence. You know what I mean? Like if you look at him, like when he was back when he was rocking the polos with the pop collars and shit. Yeah. I remember, I could be wrong, but I remember he was like begging Louis Vuitton to let him do an internship. Right? Dude was making millions, but he had this vision that he wanted to be a fashion designer. Right, and I think I'm pretty sure like they let him intern. Like he interned for Louis Vuitton back in the day, and I remember he had I forget what shoe it was, but he came out with his first shoe, and it was before his stuff was really popular like that. But he knew that that's where he wanted to go with it. And I mean, look at dude now. I mean,
shit, them Yeezys.
I'm fucking rocking them right now.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's all because no one believed that like, oh, like what the fuck is Kanye West gonna go to Louis Vuitton? Like I'm not gonna buy something from Kanye West. Yeah. But look at dude now.
Look at now.
And dude had a vision. As crazy as dude is, right? But he had a vision, and you have to respect that.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you have to, and I think just even discouraging anybody.
Can't underestimate anyone.
Yeah, and just I think just anyone discouraging someone that's trying to do something a little bit outside the box, I think that's wrong. Like I think you just always got to encourage people, and the worst thing that's going to happen is you fail, you learn a lesson from it, and then you take that lesson that you learned into the next thing that you do, and that's going to give you that much more of a chance to be successable.
Yeah, exactly. And with that, man, I think we're gonna wrap it up. Any last things you got to say, man? I know you just kind of just dropped the mic with that one right there. You know what I'm saying? You just dropped the mic with that one. So, any last things you got to say? If not, where can people find you, man? Your brand, your clothing brand, your print thing. and just kind of work with you?
So I would say, you know, the biggest thing I would just take away from, you know, business and marketing, just really believing in yourself. As corny as that sounds, that's the number one, you know, ingredient that you need to really become successful. You know, and that's something that I'm always keep doing, and always just try to learn. Like, you're never be done learning. Never think that you know everything, because you're always
be open minded.
Yeah, but there's always somebody smarter. There's always something you can learn something from, and I would definitely say to do that. And then as far as, you know, finding us, I mean, you can find us on Instagram at @thegroundup_cc. You can also find us at CRE8 Printing and Design. It's a CRE, then the number 8 print design, and that's how you can look us up.
And what if they want to get some motivation from you? Where can they find you? The same thing.
You know, that's to be announced. But, you know, definitely something I would love to do in the future. Absolutely.
For sure. All right, guys. Well, that's another episode of Los Chingones podcast. See you guys on the next episode.